You know the old proverb that you can't spell ignorant without IGN? Well, once again, that has happened here, but it's not just IGN, it's other news outlets or game journalists doing the very thing that we all expected them to do when the embargo lifted and they were able to publish their said review for Stellar Blade. That's coming out in just like 2 to 3 days from now. And just taking a look at just some of these titles alone really just goes to show that they're really upset that the game is actually good, but they want to hate it really badly. Like, let's take a look at what Games Radar said right here. Stellar Blade puts even some incredibly stupid, sexy outfits that hurts the game's story. But despite the forced sex appeal, I actually love her detailed design. They're pretty much saying because of the way she is designed, the story is bad. It's like, huh? That doesn't make any sense. But then you have IGN, they're making their stuff, and they talk about how, like, one of the greatest things about, this game is supposed to be its action, but it has dull characters, lackluster story, and several frustrating elements of RPG mechanics. But if you back up here and you look at what people are saying, other news outlets, so to speak, they're rating the game very highly. Actually, there's only a few outliners, like, for instance, IGN, Games Radar, and a few others that are just outright really trying to find anything they can to hate on this said game. Actually, to talk about that aspect, they're going as far to hate on this game by actually pretty much talking about how the game is racist. So, look at this real quick. So, this image right here, as you can see, this came out, and this was, this information came out earlier today when the embargo lifted and reviewers were able to talk about the game after the demo, like content after the demo. People were talking about it, and apparently this is like where it originated from, but IGN had the story kind of waiting in the background, so to speak, and ready to instantly publish a, article on this whole controversy with this right here. Now, if you see it, you see it. If you don't, you don't. But the point of the matter is that IGN was waiting for the embargo to lift for they could post this image just to label Stellar Blade, quote-unquote, racist. And it's just like, imagine having to dive so deep into the game, and the only thing you could find is something that obviously is just a mistake, because obviously the developers of the game are from Korea. They don't understand certain cultures from other countries, makes sense, and so something like this would just completely fly over their head. People got so upset with this, apparently, like some people are accusing them that now they're using AI, etc., which obviously has no basis and no, nothing to really back it up. But the point of the matter is that, Korea, they're a very different type of culture, and they don't think anything about this when they made this, and obviously IGN was just waiting. They were really trying. They had to go searching around walls and stuff just to find anything to make an article to make this game look bad, and it's honestly sad and pathetic that they actually have to do so. Now, obviously, this news story is really kicking off the ground. People are calling it racist, etc., and there's a lot of people really talking about this at this point. It's gotten as far as to, apparently, thanks to, IGN pretty much being snitches or doing this type of stuff, it has caused, Stellar Blade to have to patch it out and pretty much change it completely. Now, to be fair, now that people know exactly what the meaning is, yeah, it's hard to overlook it, but it doesn't change the fact it's not saying anything derogatory or anything. It can be a variety of things, and the R apparently stands for Roxanne, so to speak, so it's nothing like, anything explicit or bad, but it's absolutely crazy just how far these game journalists will go to just try to smear Stellar Blade into the ground. Once again, I want to point something out. This, IGN and Games Radar and a few others are a very, small portion, actually, in comparison to some of the others that have been displaying the reviews. In fact, a lot of the reviews and different people that have been publishing about it have basically said it's a pretty good game, and it seems like as much as they're trying to have some pushback, they really can't. At this point, the game speaks for itself. It is a legitimately good game. Now, obviously, I'm going to wait to play the game myself and all that. I'm going to play it when it comes out in a few days, and I'm probably going to make a video on it as well, talking about my overall impressions and my review of the game overall, how I felt about it, as someone that loves to dive into, Souls games like Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Sekiro, playing, Elden Ring, I played Code Vein, I played Lords of the Fallen, all that type of stuff. I played a lot of different RPG games and stuff that's kind of in a similar vein, not including Nier Automata as well, so I am excited to play Stellar Blade, and I definitely want to see how it stacks up to those giants of just legendary writing and gameplay. But it just, yeah, when I saw this, when I woke up, and the first thing I was greeted with was just these salty reviews. Like IGN, I like how they said this. It's like, what's 7 on the review mean? For instance, this was for, Stellar Blade. They said 7 means good, but then people are absolutely grilling them. It's like 7 in your eyes is basically average. And people started pointing out, like, your review is technically on the low side of the entire industry at the moment. And the reason for this is because IGN and Games Radar and a few others, like Kotaku, have been heavily trying to push a narrative that Stellar Blade is bad. It should be very bad. There was even people going out of their way basically saying that the series, or not the series, the actual game itself should theoretically be censored and should have had, like, Sweet Baby Ink look into it. There was people actually talking about that. And it's just like, bro, like, it's absolutely insane just seeing these people really trying to destroy a creative work of freedom from a Korean development team. Just, it's insane. But I'm glad to see, overall, besides obviously these outliners, the game is relatively doing good. And, the only thing they can really find is something that obviously was just an honest mistake that isn't relatively bad. They've already fixed it. I mean, I'm going to be blunt with you. Did it need to be changed? Not really. I'm not someone that's for censorship. I don't like censorship whatsoever. I don't think it's necessarily bad unless you really want to paint it and think of it that it's bad, because obviously this is just random graffiti on the planet and on walls, and apparently, this right here, hard, is, everywhere around the place. It's just a common little thing or texture you see on the wall, so most likely when they were just putting it there, they didn't think too much about it, because maybe either it was placed after or before when our shop was, placed. Regardless, I don't think there was anything malicious behind it, and I think the reaction that this is obviously causing is just over dramatic at this point. But if that's all that these, game journalists can find to really slander the game at this point, besides obviously sex appeal, then it's not a bad game, clearly. It's clearly not. Just once again, look at these clowns. I want to point this one last time out before I wrap up the video. These clowns literally said the story is bad because of the way she looks. It's like, correct me if I'm wrong, okay? If I'm wrong, forgive me. I'm going to go ahead and apologize. But isn't it theoretically kind of misogynistic saying that, this is, bad storytelling, etc., because it's an attractive person, when the very model of this character is based on a real person? Like, it's not like, a fake designed character. It's based on a real human being, a woman in, Korea. And the fact that they're trying to criticize the look of the character, even though it's literally the actual body of someone else in real life, isn't that kind of being, is it misogynistic? Is it sexist? I don't know. Correct me, whatever, if I'm wrong in the comments below, but the point doesn't change. I just think that this just goes to show that they have lost touch with reality. They really have. But yeah, overall, just wanted to talk about this. The reviews are coming in, and apparently it's a solid. And when you see IGN getting up in, arms and trying to label it very low, as low as they potentially can, the game's probably good. But okay, I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much. If you enjoy my content and you want more of my content to appear in your subscription feed, do leave a like, do subscribe, does help me out a lot. And with that, Chibi out.